One small win today could change your whole entire December. In fact, it could set you up for the best win in 2026 that you ever conceived possible. You don't need a full plan today. You don't need a big, major, massive, overwhelming shift. You just need a win. One real win that lets everything start moving. Are you curious about that? Would you like one of those? Let's talk a little bit about it. Hi, my name's Steve Kidd. I am a third generation minister, international best-selling author of 40 books and counting. I had the amazingly wonderful privilege over the course of the nearly 40 years now that I've been working in marketing space to work with so many amazing people. I've had a chance to work with multi-billionaires, with doctors, with lawyers, Olympic athletes, but I've also had the opportunity to work with people who were beyond, before really the beginning startup phase. They were in the, I don't know what the heck I am or who the heck I am or what the heck I'm doing phase. They were in the, I have this deep passion. What the heck can I, should I, could I do with it? People like that. And it's been my real privilege to work with them. We absolutely, of course, have made all of those people bestsellers, but it's really about then what are you going to do with it? What are you going to do with your book after you've put it out, after you've made it a bestseller? Because bestseller, as I even write in my book, bestseller is only the beginning. Bestseller is your day one launch strategy. It's where your book should come out right at the very, very beginning of things. But it's not where your book should stay. And unfortunately, there are so many plans out there that do that. Now, there's the other side of the coin, and I'm getting a lot of, and it's because I'm talking about it. So, of course, whatever you put out of the universe is what kind of comes back at you, too, especially when you start talking social media and things like that. Seems like when you talk about a thing, that's when, the people start hitting you up with offers that are essentially a watered down version of what you do is the polite way of saying it. But you've got the one side where people have no plan. The book comes out and it's supposed to just be magic. You have the complete other side of the coin where you have somebody who's like, for $50 we can get you this massive exposure in front of millions of people, and and blah blah blah. And there's a few of them that have been inexpensive enough that I've given them a try. I can tell you from experience that all of those emails that I've gotten thus far, none of them have really shown up to do the thing because, number one, hi Lim, hi Aiden, hey Moon, glad to have you all here with us today. The problem is that what starts out wrong ends up wrong. If you don't have the SEO right for your book, that's the first place. If you don't have the understanding of who you're writing to and what the book's about, it's even more so. Hey, Cindy, glad to have you here with us. It's so important that you take the time to know who you're talking to, what you're talking about, and then be where they're going to be. Okay. And in the case of a book, that's going to be Amazon. I mean, Amazon sells about 95% of all books that are sold. It's how it is. I didn't create that statistic. I just quote it. Okay. But you need to be where the people are so that you can then talk to your people. And it's where your people are. So if your people are hanging out in, let's say, coffee shops, I have a package where we could actually get your book placed in a certain number of coffee shops. And the list goes on. But ultimately, you need that SEO, and then you need consistent visibility on Amazon. Starts always is going to be with people reviewing your book. And there's other elements of both on Amazon exposure that you need to do, and then off Amazon exposure that you need to do. Sure, you can still go with the traditional landing page, with the whole concept of, an ad campaign that says, get my book for free, or get my book for just the cost of shipping and handling. And you can go through the order bump and the add-ons and all that kind of stuff. What I'm suggesting to you is that really what you want is to build the know, like, and trust more so, even than all of that kind of stuff. That's going to start from you having a presence on Amazon that validates what they're going to find if you run that ad, say on Facebook, for example. Because if you say, hey, get my book for free, what's the most normal, natural thing for a person to do? And that is to go on Amazon and check out your book. I mean, first of all, is the book free on Amazon already? What are people saying about the book? Are there a bunch of reviews that say, hey, I got this book for free and it's a piece of garbage? Okay. You're going to get negative reviews. So, if there's one or two bad reviews, I'm not saying about that, but I am saying that, you need to have a plan in place for people to be seeing your book. So, when they look at the ranking, that there's a decent ranking on your book. Yeah, preferably that you're in the bestseller list. But, if your ranking can go like Dawn's book did, for example, go from 9,000 to 1,000, and it was actually 9,000 and something, and it was 1,000 and something. I want to say it was like 9,800 to like 1,200 without having the exact statistics and the screenshots that I've done in front of me. That's huge. That makes a big difference. And if you can go, especially when you start talking about, Dawn's book is in a highly, highly competitive category of children's books. And it's only available in print for reasons that are very important to her business. So, and I'm talking about categories where there are books that have 15 and 25,000 reviews on them. Okay. You need to understand who you're talking to, what they need, and you need to also understand your competition. Okay. If you decided to create and start a retail store that was similar to Walmart, okay, which could be pretty tough to do these days, but let's use something that might be easy to compete with. And you wanted to start a dollar store, but you didn't want Dollar General, which, by the way, almost never has dollar stuff in them. Most of them are, they should change their name to $10 General, or $20 General, maybe even. But Dollar Tree, which, by the way, most of the time at Dollar Tree, a lot of times the items aren't $1 anymore. There's a lot of the things in there that costs more than that. And part of that has to do with they started picking up some different food products that have to sell for more than that. They have milk at the back of their grocery store too, to get you past all of the things. And then there's still a whole bunch of $1 things. And you can look at the place probably from Taiwan or China or, something like that they too, maybe Korea or, any places like that, where they too are buying the things and they're buying tens of thousands of them at pennies on the dollar. I know from experience, because I used to way back in the day, I used to run the redemption counter at an arcade, and I know that arcades aren't as big of a deal, and there isn't one in every mall. Not to mention the fact that everybody doesn't go to malls, but I can tell you from experience that the way that we did it is one ticket. So if you turned in your one ticket, you could get the things that are one ticket items. Okay, for each one ticket, it was based off of our cost being a penny. So if you had 100 tickets, that meant that our cost, the cost that it cost us to bring it into the store was 101 pennies. For those of you who couldn't do the quick math on that, that's $1. So if we paid $1, it was 100 tickets. If we paid $10, it was 1,000 tickets. If we paid $100, it was 10,000 tickets. And so, that really cool, cassette player, because, again, we're talking back in the days of malls and things like that, that really cool cassette player $100, 10,000 tickets. Okay. And the same is true when you go into Dollar Tree, and granted, it's because they're buying them in bulk. I mean, if you bought one of them, you'd probably pay maybe even more than $1 or at least $1. Not to mention the fact that most of those places you can't just buy one-offs from those, whatever, places like that. You've got to buy like 10 or 100,000 plastic plates or the little plastic cups or, kind of a situation. And then boom, they put it on the shelf. So, I mean, if you can get them for $1, or, rather, if you can get them for a penny and you can sell it for $1, and you can keep enough people in your store so that you can afford to pay somebody to be at the cash register the whole time. Okay, that works. But did you hear what I said there? You got to have the people that are coming enough to be able to get it. So you got to be where people are, offering things that people want, and doing it enough that you can afford to have the checkout process. Now, the cool part about it with your book is the checkout process can be easy. It can be just Amazon's checkout. They've got it all done. You can do it with your print book. They can do it print on demand, and they can do all the work and just cut you, your check. Yeah, it's 60 days later that they're going to actually pay you for it. But, you can totally do that. And it still falls into that same category of who am I selling to? What do they need? Where are they at? And how can I provide them what they need? That's the basic concept. That's the pulling doors back on marketing to do it. But here's the thing. I know you're frustrated. I understand it. We've been talking a lot this week about the frustration. And part of that has to do with, the fallout of last week being Black Friday and Thanksgiving and, Monday was Cyber Monday and all of that kind of stuff. And you're either feeling burnt out because you did too much, or you're feeling burnt because you got something that you didn't really want to get, or you're feeling sad and lonely and depressed because you didn't get the traction you want. What you need today is a win. You need not a huge, not a giant, not a massive win. You just need something that you can see a little bit of movement. And one of the best ways to do that is with your book, with that basic message. Because foundationally in your marketing, and there's a whole lot of other tiers to your marketing, a whole bunch of other things that we could talk about one-on-one. But the first thing you need is that foundation. Here's my book. Here's my message. Here's my give with no thought of what's in it for me. Total radical generosity. Okay? And then from there, you take and you can have built a relationship with them. And so because of that relationship now, you can talk to them about their needs and how can you help them. I spent, almost 6 months. And, the first probably 4 of it, there were hardly any call to actions at all. I'm still not real great at them, I got to tell you honestly, because I should be dropping it 2, 3, 4 times. I should be seeding it. Technically speaking, what I'm saying right now is seeding my call to action, but kind of thing. Because I want you to know me, I want you to like me, and I want you to trust me. I want to build that relationship with you so that on a day like today, when I say, hey, let's get you starting right now today, let's get you just a little win. Let's do one little thing. Because you would be amazed at seeing what something like, say, for example, 5, but let's go with 10. What 10 reviews, especially if you've got no reviews on your book, when you move to that level where you have 0 reviews and you move up to where you now have 10 reviews on your book, it is an absolute game changer. There's almost magic that happens in Amazon's algorithm when you hit 10. There's another one that hit when you hit 100. There's another one when you hit 1,000. I would assume there's one when you hit 10,000. I haven't talked to enough marketing agencies that help people get to 10,000. And the people aren't aware enough of Amazon's algorithm that they can, as a one individual. But, I mean, it happens like that. You hit those different levels. Okay. When you have the social exposure of something as simple as people just physically getting your book. Maybe they're getting it because it's at a coffee shop that that they go to, and they can pick it up and read it. And even, it could even be, free. Take one for free kind of a situation at a local Starbucks. Or maybe it's here's 3 or 4 copies of the book that people can read while they're sitting here. You got to know where your people are, and then you got to show up for them, and you got to give them something that's of value to them. Okay. And we need to help you out with that. Today, I'm suggesting let's get you a really quick win, something that we could start doing today that, you're going to potentially even see the impact of it as soon as Monday. And for sure, over the course of the next couple of weeks, you're totally going to see it. Can completely transition and position where your book truly is and how it's doing. I want to see that for you. I want to see you really, truly be in that spot. And if you'd like to have that too, drop the words amplify review. Drop the words amplify review in comments and direct message, whatever. Either one of those. Send me a message and say, hey, Steve, but yeah, amplify review. Let's get you that quick win today. Something that gives you high impact will shift your visibility immediately. Just like we took Lataxion's book, where it became number 1, and then it went to nothing at all, no statistics showing, and then right again, back to number 1. And it's still hanging out in the top 50. In fact, I think last time when we looked at it, it was, a bestseller in 2 categories and had a pretty good ranking in the 3rd category too. Let's do that for you. Let's get you that win. DM, comment, amplify, review today. A small win can change everything. Let's make today that day when you get that small win. Let's make today your small win day. Let's do it. I appreciate you. I'm so grateful for you. I hope that you are happy, safe, warm, and loved. We're going to be starting into our next week tomorrow. Our theme for next week is going to be the rebuild. No matter where you may feel like, we're going to help you rebuild, because trust is the real sale. And we'll be talking tomorrow specifically about, what if you've never been the problem? What if it's something else? We'll go deep like we typically do on Sundays. Let's do that. Okay? And until we're together again next time, I really, truly hope you have a great week.